Hi, it's John Vu, and this lesson is on Alive by Pearl Jam from Trinity Rock and Pop Drums, Grade 5. So we got the song title at the top of the page, and above the song title it says Technical Focus, as this is one of the technical focus pieces in the Grade 5 syllabus. Okay, so if you take the exam, the Grade 5 exam, you can play this as one of your technical focus pieces. Okay, so we've got a couple of elements we need to bring into our playing, some technical elements that we need to make sure we're bringing across in this piece to make sure that we get good marks in the exam if we choose to take the exam. Okay, so looking beneath the song title, you can see it says intro in a box, just letting you know when we come in at the start of the piece, we're straight into the intro. And then beneath that, we've got the style or genre of the piece, so it says grunge. So we know it's a grunge track, okay, so that will kind of give us an idea of how we play, okay, and then beside that we've got the tempo. So it says a quarter note equals 75, so we've got 75 quarter note beats per minute, okay, so it's a fairly slow tempo, okay, so we're sort of slow to medium slow. And then beneath that we've got the first bar there, and you can see at the start of the bar we've got the percussion clef, and then beside that we've got the time signature. So the time signature is 4/4. The 4 at the top tells us there's 4 beats in the bar, and the 4 at the bottom tells us each one of those beats is a quarter note. So we've got 4 quarter note beats in the bar, and then next to that we've got a quarter note rest in that first bar. Okay, so it's not a full bar, it's an anacrusis or pickup bar. Okay, so we've only got one beat in that anacrusis, so you're going to hear some guitar for that pickup. So beneath that pickup bar there, it says guitar in brackets. So you're going to hear guitar for that one beat pickup or anacrusis, which will pick us up into the official first bar of the piece. Okay, so we've got a 2-bar rest there. So we've got the multi-bar rest in the bar there and a number 2 above it. So we rest for the first 2 bars after the anacrusis, and then we come in bar 3 there with a crash cymbal and bass drum in unison, and beneath that bar it says F, short for forte, which means loud. Okay, so we come in with a nice loud crash in unison with a bass drum. So I like to double crash here, so if you've got 2 crashes set up, we can go right and left. So you'll hear the pickup. So we've got a count in first of all, the pickup for 1 beat, 2 bars of rest, and then we crash in. Okay, so you'll hear 1, 2, 3, pick up, rest, second bar, and then okay, so a nice big crash into that 3rd bar. And if you've only got 1 crash, obviously just hit 1 crash. Okay, but make sure it's a forte, nice and loud, a nice big impact when the drums come in bar 3 there. And in bar 4 we've got a quarter note rest at the start of the bar and then an 1/8 note rest. So we come in on the and of 2. Okay, so midway through the 2nd beat. Again, we're playing crash and bass drum in unison, and that is tied to a 16th note on the downbeat of 3. Okay, so obviously that merges to that crash that we hit on the end of 2. So we don't play that crash and bass drum on the 3. We let that crash and bass on the end of 2 ring for the 16th note on 3 as well. Okay, so it merges those 2 notes together. And then we come in on the E of 3 on the small tom, and we also play the and of 3 for an 8th note on the small tom as well. So we've got and of 2 crash, E and of 3 on the small tom. So we're going to play it left right because the first note's on the E. Okay, so we've got E and then we've got 4 E and so 4 16th notes on the 4th beat of the bar there. 2 16th notes on the medium tom, 2 on the floor tom. So we're just going to play that single strokes leading with the lead hand, so in my case the right hand. So if you're a lefty, just switch it, lead with the left. Okay, so we've got 4 E and just right left there. So that bar 4, crashing on the and of 2, letting the note ring on the 3. Let's merge that and of 2, and then coming in with the toms from the E of 3. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you want to get that down. So putting those 2 bars together, bars 3 and 4, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and that brings us into the groove in line 2, which starts at bar 5. So for the groove, we've got an eighth note groove on the hi-hat, and above the bar it says trashy HH. So it's a trashy hi-hat. It's one of those hi-hats, nice and loose, nice edgy, aggressive sound. We've got a crash on the downbeat of 1, so you crash into that trashy eighth note groove, and we've got a bass and snare drum rhythm underneath the eighth notes. So we've got a dotted eighth note and a 16th note for the first beat on the bass drums. That's the 1 and the at of 1. So the at of 1 is obviously going to be played in between the hi-hats. Then you've got eighth notes on the 2, so a snare on a downbeat of 2, bass drum on the end of 2, so they're going to line up with the hi-hats. And then we've got a 16th rest on the downbeat of 3, 16th note on the bass drum on the E of 3, 8th note on the bass drum on the and of 3. Then we've got a snare drum for quarter note on 4. So you've got the standard backbeat on the 2nd and 4th beat, and we just got a bass drum rhythm there where we're hitting some offbeat notes, okay, which, like I said, are going to go in between those hats. Okay, so that groove in bar 5 sounds like this. We'll take out the crash on 1 just to get the groove down. So we've got 3, 4. Okay, so remember you're at forte, so you want to play it with a lot of energy and just really portray that grunge feel, okay? So remember the genre of music that you're playing and really portray that in your playing, okay? You don't want this like timid. Okay, so you want to get that grungy feel out, that rock vibe, so really make sure you bring that feel into the groove. Okay, so after you got that groove down, you've got 3 1-bar repeats for the next 3 bars. We just repeat that 1-bar groove 3 times, so play it 4 times in total. You can see number 4 in brackets there above that 4th time of playing it, above the 3rd 1-bar repeat. Okay, so you're crashing them on the 1 of bar 5 to accentuate the start of the groove. Then you're playing that groove for 4 bars. Okay, and remember, don't repeat the crash on the repeats. Okay, so that crash on 1 is only for the start of bar 5, which accentuates the start of the groove. Okay, then we come into bar 9. Okay, so after those 1-bar repeats, we're into bar 9, and you can see we've got a time signature change into bar 9. Okay, so we're in 2/4 now, so we've got 2 quarter note beats in this bar. All right, so we've been at 4/4, which is 4 quarter note beats, so it's just shortening just to 2 quarter note beats, and that's one of the technical focus elements of this piece, okay, the fact that there's time changes. So you need to be comfortable with these time signature changes. So we come into 2/4, we've got 16th notes on the snare drum, and preceding those 16th notes are 2 grace notes. Okay, so 2 grace notes before a primary note is a drag, so that's a rudiment. So we're going to play a right drag, so because right's my lead hand, we're going to play right drag. So left's going to play the grace notes, and then we come into 16th note single strokes on the snare drum for the first beat. 8th note rest on the downbeat of 2, then we've got a crash on the end of 2 for an 8th note. And then on the bass drum, on the second beat, we've got a 16th rest on the downbeat of 2. We play a 16th note on the E of 2, 8th note on the and of 2. Okay, so you've got a 16th note bass drum on its own on that E of 2, and then the bass drum on the and of 2 is in unison with the crash symbol. Okay, so that's a pushed crash note. Okay, so that bar 9, sounds like this. So remember we got two beats in the bar. 1, 2. So 1 E and E and then we go into bar 10, which reverts back to 4/4, so the time signatures change back to 4/4. We've got a quarter note crash, which is tied to that 8th note crash you hit at the end of bar 9. Okay, so that merges those 2 notes together, so we don't play that crash on the 1 of bar 10. We've got a quarter note rest on the second beat, and then we've got a 16th note and a dotted 8th note on the third beat on the small tom. So that's 3E, so we're just about right, left. And then we've got an 8th note and 2/16ths on the 4th beat. So that'd be 4 and 8th note on the floor tom with the right hand, and then 2/16 notes on the snare drum, right, left. So right, left. And then the second rhythm, we just got a bass drum on the 2, okay, for a quarter note. So the crash on 1 is merged, so we don't play that crash. Bass on 2, 3E on high tom, and then 4 and so floor tom, 2 snares. So we'll put those 2 bars together. So bar of 2/4 and a bar of 4/4, bars 9 and 10. We got 1, 2. Okay, and those two bars there conclude the intro. Okay, so you can see we've got a double bar line there, letting us know there's going to be a musical change. So we've come to the end of the intro there. Okay, so you want to get those parts together, make sure you're comfortable with the rhythms and you're portraying the feel of the music when you play these bars. Okay, that's really important, especially at grade 5. We don't just want to play notes, we want to play music. So really that comes from you as the musician. So if you're just reading notes and playing notes, it's going to lack that feel that is so vital to the music. Okay, that's what connects with the listener. Okay, so really vital that you as the musician put the feel into these notes. Okay, so make sure the energy is there for that part and you're not just putting all the energy and focus into reading the notes and playing the notes, again, giving it no feel. All right, so really work on that. And then once you're ready, we're going to put that whole intro together. Let's keep a really solid time, 75 beats per minute. Make sure you're comfortable with those time changes. Okay, and just keep that groove solid for bars 5 to 8 and a nice clean feel hitting those the push crash notes and the offbeat notes as well. Just make sure you're comfortable with those. Okay, so let's try putting that whole intro together at 75 beats per minute. And now we'll try the intro in time with the backing track. Okay, so remember you've got that pickup bar, the anacrusis, where the guitar plays that one beat anacrusis. Then we've got 2 bars of rest before a nice big impact, crash and bass in unison in bar 3. And then just keep those fills clean, okay? Timing is crucial because of these like offbeat syncopated sounds, just to make sure they're really clean in the right place. Keep a solid groove, really keep that groove nice and clean as well. Make sure it's got that edginess and the trashiness is just about right. Okay, you don't want to go too loose or too tight. And then a nice clean 2-bar fill with the time change to finish the intro. Okay, so let's try it in time with a backing track. So now we come on to the next section of a song, which is the verse. You can see verse there written in a box above bar 11. So in the verse, we've got a 1-bar groove, just like we had there in the intro. We've got an 8th note groove on the hi-hat, but now above the bar it says tight HH. So tight hi-hat, okay? So you want to keep them nice and tight now rather than trashy like we had in the intro, okay? So tight hi-hats for 8th notes, bass and snare drum underneath. Now we've got the same rhythm for the first half of the bar on the bass and snare that we had in the previous section in the intro there. So we've got 1, 2, and. But this time in the second half of the bar, we've got a dotted 8th note rest on a downbeat of 3. We're playing a 16th note on that upbeat 3, so on the at of 3. And then a snare drum for a quarter note. So again, your backbeat staying on that 2 and 4, so that's a quarter note snare drum on 4. So that 1-bar groove, again taking out the crash, sounds like this, and beneath the bar, MF, short for mezzo forte, half loud. So you're going to bring it back down to about a normal playing level for this style of music. So you were at forte in the intro, now we're dropping 1 dynamic level to mezzo forte. So that 1-bar groove in bar 11 sounds like this. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so keep everything really clean and again portray the feel of the groove. Solid backbeat on 2 and 4. Then we've got some slash notation for the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bars. Okay, so slash notation gives us freedom to improvise. And above the first bar of slash notation at bar 12, it says cont sim, which is short for continua simile, which means continue in a similar way. Okay, so they've given you that 1 bar groove in bar 11, and then they just want you to continue with a similar groove. Okay, so you don't want to go too off tangent if you change it up. So just make sure it's similar, but you can throw in a little bit of improvisation. Okay, so they're giving you freedom to improvise, but it's within a framework. Okay, so they're giving you a guide there with the groove in bar 11. So play something in fitting with the music and that is similar. So like I said, don't go crazy. Keep a nice solid groove. Backbeat on 2 and 4. Maybe change up the bass drum pattern occasionally, or the hi-hat pattern maybe. I like to do that on the 4th bars. Okay, so you can see there above the 4th bar of the verse, you've got number 4 there in brackets. So on that 4th bar of the groove, I like to just change it up slightly just to refresh the groove and kind of reset it. And then we've got another 4 bars of slash notation. And then we've got the 8th bar of the groove in bar 18. Okay, so we've got the number 8 there in brackets written above that. So again, that's another 4th bar. So that's the second 4th bar. So again, it's nice to have a little change up on there as well, possibly. Okay, just to give you an idea of how you can improvise slightly with that 1 bar groove. Okay, you can just play the same 1 bar groove for all of those bars of slash notation. Okay, so don't think that's like copying out. You don't have to change it to show that you're a better drummer. You can play a really solid, clean, nice sounding groove and just keep it consistent for all 8 bars. Okay, that is just as impressive or even more impressive than someone who can change it up and still kind of keep the feel and the style in line with the music. Okay, so don't feel like you have to change it up, but you've got freedom to if you'd like to. Okay, so we've got 8 bars of groove there. We crash at the start of bar 11, the first bar of the verse. We crash in to accentuate the start of that groove. Make sure you're mezzo forte, so nice, solid, consistent dynamic. And then we change it up in bar 19. So we got 1 beat of slash notation there. So you've got the first beat improvised, and then we come in with a written beat on the written beat of 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so we've got that crash on the end of 2, so that push crash note again halfway through the bar, and then we've got hi-hats for the rest of the bars, 8th note, so that's 3 and 4 and. Okay, and then bass drum rhythm, we've got obviously second beat here because the first beat is slash notation. We've got 16th rest on the downbeat of 2, 16th and 8th note, so we've got E and on the bass drum, and again that and is going to line up with the crash. And then we got E and of 3 as well on the bass drum because we've got that 16th rest on the downbeat of 3. Got a quarter note snare drum on the 4. Okay, so I like to play that drag into the 16th notes for that first beat. So that first beat is slash notation. I like to play that same thing that you played at the start of bar 9. Okay, so that drag into 16th notes. And then you've got that same E and. Okay, so it's the same 2 beats that you played in that 2/4 bar in bar 10. Okay, bar 9, sorry. Okay, so I like to play that for those first 2 beats of bar 19, and then you're coming in with half a bar of groove. So for that bar, just an idea with my my one beat of slash notation at the start of the bar. So bar 19, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, but again, you can improvise on that first beat. And then in the next bar, bar 20, we've got another drag into the 16th notes on the first beat. We've got a 16th rest on the bottom rhythm, so the bass drum rhythm, bass and snare drum rhythm. Then we've got the E on the bass drum, and then we've got the and on the snare drum this time. Okay, not on the bass drum. And then the top rhythm there, we've got an 8th rest on the downbeat of 2, and we play that crash in unison with the snare drum on the and of 2. Okay, and then for the next 2 beats, beats 3 and 4, we've got 16th rest on a downbeat of 3, and then 16ths for the rest of the bar. So E and A, 4 E and A. So that bar, bar 20, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so just to get those 2 bars there, so bars 19 and 20, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so those 2 bars there are an example of the second technical focus element of this piece, which is complex fills. Okay, so a complex rhythm, and also we've got those push notes on the crash cymbal midway through the bars. Okay, so make sure you play those clean, because like I said, that's a technical focus element of this piece. Okay, so you've got time changes and complex fills. So be comfortable with those time signature changes, and also play nice clean fills for the complex rhythms there, particularly at the end of the verse, which precedes the chorus. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the verse. You can see a double bar line at the end of bar 20 there. So we've got another musical change coming. So we're going to put the whole verse together now to keep a solid groove for 8 bars. And then we've got 2 bars there of nice complex fills. Okay, so let's try the whole of the verse. And now we'll try the verse in time with the backing track. Okay, so the verse lyrics are important, so make sure you're just keeping a solid groove, nice foundation for the vocalist to sit on top of. Okay, so keep a nice clean groove to support the music, and then nice big impact at the end of the verse to build the energy going into the chorus. Okay, so you want to raise that dynamic to forte for those last 2 bars of the verse. And just make sure you're playing nice clean rhythms there in those 2 bars. Hit the crash notes, those push notes on the crashes at the right points, and just make sure you're playing clean drags and those 16th notes in the right points of the beat. Okay, so let's try the verse in time with the backing track.
Son, she said, have I got a little story for you? What you thought was your daddy was nothing but while you were sitting home alone at age 13. Your real daddy was a dying. Sorry you didn't see him, but I'm glad we talked.
So after the verse, we come on to bar 21, which is the start of the chorus. You can see the chorus there written up in a box above bar 21. So for the chorus, we've got another 1 bar groove, and it's an 8th note groove again, but this time the 8th notes are on the ride cymbal. Okay, so we're going to come across to play on the ride as 8th notes. Bass and snare drum rhythm, we've got a dotted 8th note and 16th note on the 1 on the bass drum, so that's 1, ah. And then we've got snare on 2 for a quarter note, and then we've got the same rhythm for 3 and 4 there. So we've got dotted 8th and 16th note on the 3 on the bass drum, snare drum for quarter note on the 4. We crash in with the groove, but we'll just take it out first of all just to get the groove down. So the groove in bar 21, we got 3, 4. Okay, so that's 4 times through that groove there, so make sure you're comfortable with that groove. So nice simple groove, but just give it a feel, yeah? Okay, so that's what you need to do here. Take these simple grooves and give them loads of feel. Okay, so make sure that's coming across into the music. Then we've got 2 1-bar repeats. We repeat that 1-bar groove. So we crash into the groove when we come into the chorus, but we don't play those crashes on the 2 1-bar repeats. Okay, so just carry on the ride cymbal. And then we've got a change up in the 4th bar of the chorus, which is bar 24. Okay, so we've got the same groove for the first half of the bar, so the first 2 beats. And then for beats 3 and 4, 8th notes on the ride cymbal and a quarter note on the 4 there. So we've got 3 and 4. Bass drum playing a 16th note on the downbeat of 3. Snare drum playing an 8th note on the E of 3. Bass drum playing a 16th note on the A of 3. So that 3rd beat. So you've got a couple of off beats there, so playing the E on the snare drum, A on the bass drum, and then the 4th beat, back beat together in unison, ride and snare, and then 2 16ths, right, left. Okay, so those 2 beats, beats 3 and 4 in bar 24. We got 1, 2. Okay, so just to go through that line, so bars 21 to 24, we got 3, 4. Okay, then coming to the second line of the chorus, starting at bar 25, we crash in with that same 1 bar groove. We've got a 1 bar repeat, so just repeating the groove for 1 bar this time. And then we got ride on the downbeat of 1 for an 8th note in bar 27. And then we've got a crash on the and of 1. And then we got 16th, 8th, 16th on the snare drum, so that's 2 E, so play that right, left, left. Nice syncopated rhythm there. Then we're on to the toms for the 3rd and 4th beat. So we've got 16th notes on the 3rd beat, 3 E and on the rack tom. So right, left, 16th rest on the downbeat of 4. Then we got E and on the floor tom. So play that left, right, starting on the off beat there. Bass drums playing the 1 and the and of 1. Okay, so that's in unison with the ride and in unison with the crash on that first beat. So that bar 27, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so some nice syncopated rhythms in that bar, and that brings us to the end of the chorus there, so you see the double bar line, which means there's a musical change. So we'll just go through that second line of the chorus, the bars 25 to 27. We've got 3, 4. Okay, so just don't be caught out with the number of bars in that second half of the chorus. So we've got 4 bars in the first part of the chorus and just 3 bars in the second part of the chorus. Okay, so only one bar repeat in the second line. Okay, so let's try and put those 2 lines together. And now we'll try the chorus in time with the backing track. Okay, so remember there's a lot of energy in the chorus. We're at forte, so keep the energy high, keep that feel in the notes, and just keep those nice 4 bar changes nice and clean. So that little change up there in bar 24, and then a nice big fill to finish the chorus. Okay, so let's try it with the backing track.
See him, but I'm glad we talked. Oh, I'm still alive. I'm still alive. Hey, I'm still alive. Hey, she walks slowly.
And now we come into the second page of the piece and the second verse, which starts at bar 28. You can see verse there again written in a box there. We've got tight HH written above the bar, so we've got tight hi-hat just like we did in the first verse. We've got 8th notes on the hi-hat, crash on the downbeat of 1, and you can see we've got that same bass and snare drum rhythm as well that we had in the first verse. Okay, so you just got the same 1 bar groove that we had in the first verse. So again, just keep it nice and clean, solid backbeat just like you did in the first verse. And then we got that same 7 bars of slash notation with cont sim written above the first bar of slash notation in bar 29 there. So again, exactly the same thing we had in the first verse. So you know what to do for those first 8 bars. And again, we're at mezzo forte for the verse. Okay, so we've just come from a chorus at forte, so we want to drop it back down to mezzo forte for the verse. And then we've got that same bar again that we played. Well, if you played the drag like I did for the 1 beat of slash notation. So this time that drag 16th note single strokes on the first beat is written in there. So bar 36, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's what I played in bar 19, okay, which was the end of the first verse. But you had the freedom, obviously, to play whatever you wanted in that first beat because we just had a slash there. So this time we've got what I played for that first beat slash rotation, which was a drag into the 16-note single strokes. Okay, so this could be the same as what you played for that first bar of the 2-bar fill at the end of verse 1. But if you played something different, obviously this time you need to play that drag into the single strokes for this bar. Okay, and then we come on to bar 37, the last bar of the second verse there. We've got another drag into 16 notes on the 1 on the snare drum. And then we've got that same thing that we had in bar 20, the end of the first verse, where we play that E on the bass drum, crash and snare on the and then we've got 30 second notes or demi-semiquavers for beats 3 and 4. So you want to be nice and clean and smooth with these notes. So a lot of notes to fit into one beat. So we've got 8 notes evenly spaced in the beat. We've got 4 on the high tom, 4 on the mid tom. Okay, so we got just single strokes for those 2 drums, and then we got the whole count for 30 second notes or demi-semiquavers on the floor tom for the 4th beat. Okay, so that bar 37, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so make sure that's not a nice clean rhythm. So again, it's a complex fill, which is one of the technical focus elements of this piece. Okay, so we want to execute that nicely, make sure it's clean and tidy. Okay, it's easy to play that messy, so really spend time to make sure it's nice and clean, that fill. Okay, so we're going to put those 2 bars together. So bars 36 and 37, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so really work on those 2 bars, and then once you got that, we're going to put the whole verse together. Okay, so we've got 8 bars of nice solid groove crashing in on the first bar. Obviously, you don't want to be crashing every bar. Okay, so just accentuate the start of the verse, and a nice clean ending. Okay, so let's try the whole of the verse. And now we'll try the whole of the verse with the backing track. Okay, so just like in that first verse, just keep a solid groove. Make sure you're keeping those 8th notes consistent, nice solid backbeat, and nice clean ending, especially with those 30 second notes or demi-semiquavers. Okay, so keep them clean and tidy. Make sure you're comfortable moving around the toms. Okay, so 4, 4, 8 in terms of the amount of notes on each drum. And yeah, once you're ready, we'll try it with the backing track.
I'm still alive. Slowly across a young man's room, she said, I'm ready for you. Well, I can't remember anything to this very day, except the look, oh, you know where. Now I can see, I just stay.
And then we come on to another chorus, which starts at bar 38. So for this chorus, very similar to what you played in the first chorus, starting at bar 21. Okay, so we got that 1 bar groove again on the ride cymbal, so make sure you're playing it on the ride. 2 1-bar repeats, and then we got that slight change up in bar 41, which is the same groove that you played in bar 24, the 4th bar of the first chorus. Okay, so that's the same 4 bars that you played. Then we play the groove again, so we crash into the groove, bar 42. We've got 3 1-bar repeats this time. Okay, so obviously in the first chorus we just had one 1-bar repeat, so we've got 3 there, so we play that groove for 4 bars. You can see the number 4 there, above the 4th time of playing the bar, the 1-bar groove, so you know where you are in the piece. You'll feel that 4th bar, and then you can look at the piece there, see the number 4, know where you are. And then we've got a 1-bar fill. We've got a crash and bass drum on the 1, 2 16th notes on the snare drum on the and the out of 1, to play that right left, 2 16ths on a downbeat of 2, so that'd be 2E right left on the snare, 8th note rests on the and then we've got 16th notes on the 3E and again a single strokes, and then you've got a 16th note rest, and then the 16th note on the E of 4, 8th note on the end of 4. So that's left right because you're starting it on the offbeat. So that bar 48, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. So the bar rhythm is 1 and 2E, 3E and E and. Okay, and that 1-bar fill there brings us to the end of the chorus. We've got that double bar line there again at the end of bar 46. Okay, so we're going to put that whole chorus together now at the song tempo 75 beats per minute. And now we'll try the second chorus, so bars 38 to 46 in time with the backing track. Okay, so again, it's a chorus, so keep the energy high. You're at forte, just like you were in the first chorus, and just make sure you're finishing with that clean fill there in bar 46. Now, the rhythm that you're hitting on the snare is played on the guitars as well, okay? So you want to make sure it's really clean because it's a collective rhythm, okay? So it's like, well, you need to make sure you're playing that rhythm correctly so it really locks in with the guitars. Okay, so be clean with those snare notes. So let's try it now, the whole chorus in time with the backing track.
You know where, now I can see, I just stay, I'm still alive, hey, but I'm still alive, hey, boy, I'm still alive, hey, I'm still alive, oh.
And then we come on to the next section of the song, which is the instrumental. Okay, so no vocals in this section, just instruments. It starts at bar 47, so you've got a 1-bar groove to start the instrumental. So we're still at forte. We crash in and we just play nice basic 8th note groove on the ride cymbal. Okay, bass on 1 and 3, snare on 2 and 4. And then we've got another time change. So the time signature changes to 7/8 in bar 48. Okay, so we've got 7 8th notes in the bar. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so from 4/4 to 7/8 there. Nice time signature change. And in that bar of 7/8 in bar 48, we've got 16th notes for the first 2 8th note beats. So that's 1 and 2 and. And we've got an 8th note rest, okay, which would be the 3. And then we got 16th notes on the 4 and the 5, so 4 and 5 and, 8th note rest on 6, and then we play 7 and, okay, 7 and. All the single strokes, so you got right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Okay, bass drum playing the 1, so in unison with that 1 there, so quarter note on the 1, and then we play it at the start of the next lot of 16th notes on the snare drum, which is the 4. Okay, so 1 and 4. So remember counting the 8th note beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 as well to finish the bar. Okay, so that bar of 7/8, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we'll put the 2 bars together, bars 47 and 48. So a bar of 4/4 where we're feeling quarter notes, and a bar of 7/8 where the pulse is 8th notes. Okay, so the tempo isn't going to change. It's just the subdivision that you feel for the beat is going to change. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the time change. Okay, so those 2 bars. 3, 4. Okay, and the next 2 bars we do exactly the same. Okay, so we're just repeating those 2 bars there, just being clean with that time change. Okay, so let's try that back to back. So we'll try bars 47 to the end of bar 50, just to hear 4/4 into 7/8, and then 7/8 back into 4/4. Obviously, when you go back into the groove. Okay, so be really clean with this time change. So those 4 bars, 47 to 50, 3, 4. Okay, and for the next 2 bars, you do that exactly the same again, okay? So that would be bars 51 and 52. And then for the final bar, the instrumental bar 53, you just play the 1 bar 8th note groove in 4/4 again. And you've got the diminuendo beneath the bar, so you need to gradually get quieter as you play that bar to bring the energy down. So you've been at forte for the whole of the instrumental. Okay, so we're going to put the whole instrumental together now. So if you're comfortable with your time changes from 4/4 to 7/8, it should be a nice simple section for you to play. But again, if you don't need to concentrate on the rhythm because it's simple for you rhythmically, make sure you put all that energy into the feel of the notes, okay? So it doesn't mean it's easy to play if the rhythm's easy, because obviously you need to put the feel into the groove, okay? So a basic groove is difficult to play, or well, it's not just simple, it's that you're not just playing the notes. So if the rhythm's simple, it doesn't mean, oh, this is nothing to play, it's just so easy, I don't have to think about it, because you should be thinking about it. Okay, every groove you play, if it's simple, that means you don't have to think about the rhythms. You can put even more energy into the feel of the groove. Okay, so that's what you can do when you've got these simple rhythms. Put more emotion into the notes. Okay, which is what takes you from a beginning or like early intermediate level drummer into like the next level. Okay, it's how you play the notes. So really think about that when you're playing simple rhythms, simple grooves. Don't just switch off because they're easy. You need to be just as switched on as if you were playing a complex rhythm by putting all that feel into the notes. Okay, so let's try the whole of the instrumental. And now we'll try the instrumental in time with the backing track. Okay, so just like with that fill at the end of the previous chorus, we'll make sure those snare notes are clean because they're in unison with the guitars. Okay, so you're playing the same rhythm. So it's got to be really clean, make sure they're nice and synchronized, those rhythms. So really got to be comfortable with those time changes. So let's try the instrumental in time with the backing track. Keep the energy high at forte, bring it down for that final bar with the diminuendo.
I'm still alive.
And now we come on to the bridge, so another section of the song which starts at bar 54. Okay, so you can see bridge there in the box, they're written above bar 54. Now we've got the same groove that we played in the 2 previous choruses, but this time the dynamic's different. So beneath the bar you've got MP, short for mezzo piano, half soft. Okay, so you're going to bring the dynamic level down. And you've got 6 bars of slash notation. So again, freedom to improvise, and you've got cont sim, continue assimilate, above bar 55, the second bar of the bridge. So you want to continue with a similar groove to the one they've written down for you in bar 54. Okay, so again, you can just play the same groove if you want. Keep it solid and consistent, but you've got some freedom to improvise if you want to. And you've got the number 4 there in brackets written above the 4th bar of the bridge, just to help you keep track of where you are. And you've got another 3 bars of slash notation after that bar, so 58, 59 and 60. And then we've got 1 bar written here in bar 61, the end of the bridge. So we've got 8th notes on the cymbal, so we've got an 8th note on ride, crash on the and of 1, and 2 8th notes on the ride, 2 and then a quarter note on 3 on the ride there. Second rhythm, so the bottom rhythm, 2 8th notes on the bass, snare for a quarter note on the backbeat, so the first half of the groove there. And then we got, after that ride cymbal, we got bass in unison with the ride cymbal there, and then after that we got 16th on snare, so E and A, and then you got toms, so 4E on small tom and A on low tom or floor tom. Okay, so crash on the and of 1, so that offbeat crash there, and then finishing with that fill. So that bar 61, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and beneath that bar, so beneath bar 61, we've got an F, so we're back to forte. So you've been at mezzo piano for the bridge, keep it nice and subtle, okay, dynamic levels lower, and then for that final bar there, you want to raise it to forte, so really lift the energy because we're taking it into the final section of the song, okay. So you can see a double bar line at the end of bar 61, so we come to the end of the bridge. Okay, so let's try the bridge now, the whole bridge at 75 beats per minute. And now we'll try the bridge in time with a backing track, okay? So make sure that dynamic level is at mezzo piano, okay? You really want to make sure the lyrics stand out in this section, okay? So let the lyrics speak to the listener, and we're just sitting underneath it, keeping a nice foundation for the lyrics to be sung on, okay? So keep that dynamic level beneath the vocals, and then really pick the energy up in the final bar of the verse to raise the energy for the final section, okay? So we really need to deliver that increase in energy, okay? Make sure it's portrayed by the drummer. It really helps with the energy of the song, okay? So important to lift that dynamic to forte for that final bar of the bridge, okay? So let's try the bridge in time with the backing track.
Is something wrong, she said. Well, of course there is. You're still alive, she said. Oh, and do I deserve to be? Is that the question? And if so, who answers?
And now we come on to the final section of the song, which is the guitar solo, which starts at bar 62, the final line of the piece. You can see guitar solo there written in a box. Okay, so for this section, you can see at the start of bar 62, the first bar of the guitar solo, we've got a start repeat sign. So we're going to be coming back to this point. We've got a 1 bar groove, an 8th note groove again, written in bar 62. We're on the ride cymbal, and we've got a bass and snare drum rhythm, bass drum on the 1 and the end of 1, snare drum on 2 for a quarter note, and then we've got 16th note on 3, 16th note on the snare drum on the E of 3, 16th note, 8th note on the bass drum for the end of 3. Quarter note on the snare drum for the 4. Okay, so again, normal backbeat, crashing into that groove. So we'll just take the crash out first. We'll just to get the groove down. So we've got 3, 4. Okay, so get comfortable with the groove. Like I said, we crash in to accentuate the start of this guitar solo. We've got slash notation for the rest of the for the next 3 bars. Okay, so again, freedom to improvise. And it says compt sim above bar 63 there, so continue in a similar way. So it just gives you the theme, gives you an idea of what to play, and then you need to continue with that. But you've got some freedom to kind of play about with that groove a little bit, but not too much. And then above bar 64, we've got Big Phil written above the final 2 beats of the bar, really, or it may be just a little bit more than the 2 beats. You want to play a nice big improvised fill. Okay, now this is the guitar solo. There's loads of energy here. So the guitar solo is taking the forefront, but we as the drummer need to support the energy that they're portraying. So it's a lot of energy. So we really need to make sure we're helping the guitarist deliver that energy, okay, deliver the feel of the solo. If they're getting excited and playing loads of notes and carrying loads of energy and we're just playing like a timid groove underneath, it's not going to really portray and carry that energy. So as the drummer, but supporting a solo, we need to make sure we're helping them deliver the energy that they're portraying. Okay, so a lot of energy in this guitar solo, so really support the guitarist with a groove with a lot of energy. Okay, so you got some freedom to play about with it. I suggest you do play about with the groove here in this section. Don't just play the same groove in bar 62. You want to kind of improvise, add some crashes, and obviously you have to improvise the big fill. Okay, so nice big fill again, that's going to help the support the guitarist. And then we've got that end repeat at the end of bar 65. Yep, and then we play those 4 bars again, so 62, 63, 64, 65. Okay, with the big fill. The only crash is at the start of those repeated 4 bars. Okay, so we crash start bar 62. Well, obviously you can add in crashes as well throughout the section because you're improvising. Okay, and then we finish on the crash after we played that, after we've repeated those 4 bars, okay, which finishes the piece. And in the final bar, we've got 3 quarter note beats there because we had that 1 beat pickup bar anacrusis at the start of the piece. Okay, so putting those 2 bars together, we've got our 4 beats in the bar. So let's try the whole guitar solo now at 75 beats per minute. And now we'll try the guitar solo in time with the backing track. Okay, so a lot of energy, so really make sure you bring the energy in this section and nice big fills as well, okay, which support the guitarist. So let's try guitar solo in time with the backing track.
So, if so, who answers? Who answers?
So that brings us to the end of the piece. Okay, so once you've gone through each section individually, you want to work on the transitions from section to section. Okay, so maybe go from intro to verse, work on that transition, then verse to chorus, chorus to verse to chorus, chorus to instrumental, instrumental to bridge, bridge to guitar solo. Okay, just work on all the transitions and then maybe do first page and then try the whole of the second page to really build it up. Don't rush. Okay, so remember, the key isn't to get your grade 5 certificate as quickly as you can. It's all about developing yourself as a musician. Make sure you're comfortable playing these rhythms physically, you're understanding the theory, you're comfortable with the time changes and the rhythms, the complex fills particularly. Okay, the 2 technical focus elements of this piece, but make sure, especially at this level, at grade 5, you want to make sure you're putting the feel into the notes. Okay, so make sure you're bringing across, portraying the style of music. So remember, it's grunge rock, so we need the energy there, we need the edginess there, we need the attitude there, the slight aggressiveness in there. So bring that into the notes. Okay, so someone playing without feel compared to someone playing with feel is massive. Okay, so that's what this is all about, being able to play simple, clean rhythms with feel. Okay, that's what's going to take you to the next level in your drumming. Okay, so really work on that. Spend time on this piece. Okay, give it the time it deserves, and make sure you're playing at the point where you're enjoying it, not really thinking about the rhythm, just thinking more, like I said, about the feel of the notes. Okay, so think about that a lot. Put that into your practice. Have fun with the song. It's a great song to play, and we'll see you in the next lesson.
across a young man's room. She said, I'm ready for you. Well, I can't remember anything till this very day, except the look, the look. Oh, you know where. Now I can see. I just stay. I'm still alive. Hey, but I'm still alive. Hey, boy, I'm still alive. Hey, I'm still alive. Oh. Is something wrong, she said. Well, of course there is. You're still alive, she said. Oh, and do I deserve to be? Is that the question? And if so, who answers? Who answers? Son, she said, have I got a little story for you? What you thought was your daddy was nothing but while you were sitting home alone at age 13. Your real daddy was a dying. Sorry you didn't see him, but I'm glad we talked. I'm still alive. I'm still alive. Hey, I'm still alive. Hey, she walks slowly across a young man's room. She said, I'm ready for you. Well, I can't remember anything till this very day, except the look, the look. Oh, you know where. Now I can see. I just stay. I'm still alive. Hey, but I'm still alive. Hey, boy, I'm still alive. Hey, wrong, she said. Well, of course there is.